Hello, we're coming to you live from inside post-Roe v. Wade America. By now, you'll probably have heard that the Supreme Court overturned both Roe and Casey in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health. And it's kind of weird because I walked down the street today in Los Angeles. I didn't see any handmaids, none of the white cone hats, none of the red dresses. It must take a couple days to go into effect or something. You're going to hear all sorts of stuff about the coming theocracy and the right-wing Christian overtake of America. Lots of things like that in the next months, weeks, years even. All this keening and caterwauling that's going on about this, and lots of, I think, justified celebration on the part of the right and the pro-life movement. And yes, indeed, those evil, nasty Christians who helped make this happen. But there's something crucial that I want to emphasize about this decision. In the midst of everything else that's being said and done in the wake of Dobbs. And that is, for me, it really comes down to one line in the actual Roe decision from 1973. Justice Harry Blackmun said, "The word person, as used in the 14th Amendment, does not apply to the unborn." For all of the other legal errors in that decision, for all of the specious arguments, that to me was the core of it. The minute he said that, abortion was never going to be safe, legal, and rare, no matter how many times the Democrats claimed it was, no matter how many people said that's what they wanted. Fundamentally, Roe represented the unpersoning of an entire class of people and the exclusion of that class from the promises of our Declaration of Independence, which tells us that all men are endowed by their Creator with the inalienable right to life. And when those nasty white men on the court stood up and said that there are certain people that don't count in that declaration, in those promises, they usurped power that belongs to the American people, and they usurped a right that comes to all people from God. That is why the Dobbs decision represents such a victory, not just, of course, for the unborn and for everybody that's thinking about having a child, but for the country, for the nation that we live in and love. If we believe in this country at all, it means we believe that those promises are true, fundamentally, always and everywhere, categorically. If you are a human being, you have a right to life. I've been talking about this stuff a lot in my show. It's called Young Heretics. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts. In particular, if you check out the episode called The Firstest Things, you'll find a few series about these principles that underlie some of the fights that we've been having in the news, which is the point of the show. I call it the classical education that you never knew you were missing. Every day we wake up and we have some new culture war fight, some new story that runs across our feed. But on Young Heretics, we try to pull the camera back and talk about the deep history of some of these questions. And our job in each generation, each new day, is to figure out how to return to those principles, how to live them out in the here and now, given the unique circumstances that we find ourselves in. That's why Dobbs represents such an enormous victory. That's why it represents such a rectification of many things that have gone terribly wrong in American politics, our extremism, the way that we fight with one another because we feel so impotent, unable to get laws passed through Congress that represent our true desires, beliefs, and values. Now the door is open to return to those principles, to those eternal ideas upon which America was founded and which it's our responsibility to live out in every new day. I would love for you to join us in this adventure. It's been such a ride so far. We've had such a wonderful time, and I've loved getting to know everybody that wants to follow me through this deep dive into the great works and principles of the West. I would love to have you along for the ride. So come check it out at youngheretics.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Hope to see you there. And congratulations, America, on the overturn of Roe v. Wade.